the budget autonomy law is the law of the land. It really is interesting to note that the Federal Court of Appeals had this matter before it and simply refused to take it up, but gave it not to any federal court, but sent it to our own local court, the Superior Court of the District of Columbia. Didn't say why, but I can't help but find significance in what is a very unusual remand. So that as we speak, the only court ruling in effect is the ruling that has upheld the Budget Autonomy Act of 2013 and ordered the District of Columbia government to implement it, its local officials. So I find it close to laughable that my Republican friends have threatened jail for D.C. officials who implement what the court told them to do. The second time that this Congress has tried to bully D.C. officials with the threat of jail. We lose everything without budget economy, but the Congress loses nothing.
The Constitution was written before the existence of the District of Columbia. And I cannot believe that the founders envisioned a modern urban metropolis that Congress would interfere with at its whim. So yeah, we're all for self-determination and autonomy unless it involves marijuana, or unless it involves the wrong decision from one's philosophical point of view in terms of reproductive rights, or asserts budget autonomy, including with the district's own money in terms of revenues raised locally. The fact constitutionally we have the right doesn't mean we should exercise it in this fashion. It's intrusive, it's patronizing, it invokes a plantation mentality deeply resented by the people in this region. And as a member of Congress of this region, I can speak to that. My constituents in Virginia don't appreciate it. And it's just the wrong thing to do. I would respectfully suggest the folks in North Carolina would no more welcome this kind of congressional intrusion than do the people here in the District of Columbia. I wish our colleagues on both sides of the aisle could understand the frustration and the deep condescension members of District of Columbia feel from this body. It's not right, and it's time to free the District of Columbia.
It is the people's city. It is not the district's. It is the nation's city. It is not the residents. It belongs to we, the people of the Republic. And while there are concerns locally, the fact that we would have a provision in here that states the federal portion of the annual budget shall be submitted to the president, this completely bypasses the ability of the people of the country to have a say in its national seat of government. This is a problem. It is also a problem for the security of the seat of the government. The district belongs to we, the people.
It sounds very high-minded to cite the people own D.C. But we cherry-pick here. It's not so simple, I would say to my friend. The people don't run the day-to-day government of the District of Columbia, the people he's referring to. The elected leadership of Washington, D.C. runs that government. These people you're talking about don't pay for the operating costs of Metro every day. The taxpayers of Washington, D.C. pay for that. And if we're, if we want to take over the entire management of the city government, we can be arguing zoning cases. I used to do that for a living in local government. The fact of the matter is we're cherry picking. When we don't object to something they do, we let it go. When we do, philosophically, we impose our will. And then we hide behind this constitutional cloud and even cite the Federalist Papers as if they were dispositive. And they're not. This is about raw political power being imposed on American citizens who do not have a voting voice here in the United States Congress. And that is a shame that should be addressed, and we ought not to be doing what we're about to do in this committee.
I very much appreciate the delegate from Washington, D.C. I recognize she's doing what her people want her to do, and I get that. But I happen to agree with my good friend from, obviously not so good a friend because I've never met her state. Is it Nebraska or Oklahoma? Yeah, they all look the same to those of us from the original 13 colonies. All the square states look the same. The square states. That it is the people's city, and that the people of South Carolina have almost as much vested here as the people who live here.
It's almost arrogance that we sit in communities where we have the right to enact policies, budgets on our own community. Many of us came up through local government and had the opportunity to hold a personally elected official accountable for their votes and accountable for what happened in our communities where we pay taxes. And we say it's okay for someone else, but in our own backyard, it is not acceptable.
In the last 2 weeks, since the Commission announced this plan, we have had a whirlwind of activity, beginning most recently with the release of the draft Constitution that you have been given tonight. This is an initiative that is designed to revitalize our statehood effort by rededicating ourselves to the vote that D.C. residents originally took in 1979, updating a Constitution that was first written in 1982 and later updated in 1987, and trying to engage the public and the community from all of our 8 wards and do outreach to our fellow citizens here in the United States. It will culminate in a constitutional convention in which every citizen of the District of Columbia will get the opportunity to be a delegate at that constitutional convention and literally take advantage of modern technology so that even if you can't personally be in a particular room, you can participate electronically, online, virtually, in a variety of capacities.
You all are the champions for our movement and to bring democracy to the nation's capital. So we should all be happy that we're here. Hopefully will grow the size of this crowd here very, very large, and we'll make this a very, very good process that we can use for the convention and also when the new administration comes in, and we'll see our DC statehood achieved.
Some people want autonomy. Some people want a vote. Some people want retrocession. This is our opportunity to speak with one clear, loud voice that statehood is what makes the people of the District of Columbia whole. Statehood is the remedy. You know, it never ceases to amaze me as I travel around the district that you can go over to the Jefferson Memorial and see we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all are created equal, or go over to the Supreme Court and see equal justice under law, or go to visit President Lincoln and see conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all are created equal, because equality is a prerequisite of democracy. And it's time that we end this foolish 215-year anachronism and imagine what it will be like if we can march up to Capitol Hill with 90% of the people of the District of Columbia in favor of statehood, speaking loudly with a single voice.
We have really for the first time this greater coordination that you see before you and the opportunity to talk about a more comprehensive strategy such as that which the mayor is laying out for us. And what I hope and believe will come out of this is that you will see more resources from the council and I think as well from the executive branch to assist our elected representatives in pursuing self-determination and in particular statehood.
What people have told me, what the polls show, is that we have to continue to forge a new path to get the representation that we deserve. And we know to be like all other tax-paying Americans, we need a vote in the House and we need 2 senators. And the only way to get there is to become the 51st state.